Hey, what is up, guys? Eric Thane here from Cinema Mastery, and welcome to another lighting breakdown. Today we're going to be breaking down the video that I posted last week on my channel, another video from a luxury ski lodge, and just breaking down how we used primarily natural and available light on this shoot. There were a couple scenes that we lit using studio lights, which I'll show you kind of how that works as well. But when it comes down to it, most of this video was done just using the sun and using the right locations and using the right time of day. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so here's a quick run through of the video. Basically, we've got a couple showing up at the hotel, driving their car through the valley. This was shot in Park City, Utah, so it's gorgeous out there. And this is a summer video, so a lot of the videos that we've done for these lodges have been in the winter. They wanted to do a summer focused one, and that's the reason why most of the shoot was outside, is because there's just a lot of activities that happen outside during the summer. And so we were outside. We didn't have a big crew. We weren't putting up like 50-foot duvetine or silks or anything like that. This shoot was primarily just working with the right locations, doing some location scouting, getting the sun in the right spot, and doing that kind of thing in order to get the right look. So we've got the kind of showing up at the hotel, driving in, checking out the view, which is gorgeous. Drinking coffee, just hanging out, more coffee, hanging out downtown, riding mountain bikes. We've got them going on a hike, riding the chairlift, doing a little bit of a picnic, doing some hot tub time, and then hanging out by the fire. Okay, pretty straightforward. It's just a bunch of different scenes of this couple showcasing their experience at the hotel, and that's kind of what we're working with. So let's just start from the beginning. I'm going to run through some of this really fast because it's pretty simple. This obviously, we're not doing any lighting here. We're just getting the right scene, the right time of day. This was kind of early morning stuff, so just make sure we get their light in the right place. You'll notice in a lot of these scenes that it was kind of overcast, and there's kind of this hazy look across the entire video. A lot of that is because there were actually fires happening in Utah at the time of shooting this, and so that turned out really lucky for us. Obviously sad for other people, but for us it was really lucky, and we were able to take advantage of that. So we got these really interesting shots from that. So if you kind of scroll through here, you'll notice that a little bit. If you look, I'll show you some better examples of it in a second, but if you look at these mountains in the distance, you notice that they're kind of hazed a little bit. And so right here we're shooting, basically just early morning. You can tell we've got sun coming from over here. All of this stuff that you're seeing, this kind of hazy glass effect, is coming from some glass in front of the lens. So it's using a prism or something else to just create some interesting elements to kind of mess up that side of the frame, since we've got our talent just, positioned so far over here to the left. And we've got all this empty negative space as well, so we're just doing something with that so it's not too distracting, just something to make it feel a little bit more artistic and interesting. You can tell we've got sun hitting our male talent here. It is overcast as well, so we're not getting like really hard light from the sun, which can actually be really nice. There were kind of a little bit of clouds in the sky, so we're getting this nice soft light hitting him there. Now, if we move forward from here, you notice there's another shot. Again, of just a little bit close up of the same thing, but you can see really like how soft this light is. We're not diffusing it at all. And if you look in the sky, you can see some of the textures. So there's a little bit of clouds, not completely overcast. So there's sunlight coming through, and we're just getting that nice soft light on him. And then again, you can see some of those hazy effects from the glass as well over here. So looking really nice. And then as we keep going, I've got another shot of him just kind of smiling, and we're good there. This scene, I'm trying to remember exactly what we did here. It's just a couple shots in here, and we were using mostly window light, obviously from these windows back here, reverse keying our talent on this side. So we've got window light on this side of her face, shadow on this side of her face, looking really good. I believe we did have a quasar, which I think was our main lighting tool that we used on this shoot, was quasars. That's how simple this whole thing was. I think we did have some of those up, just filling in the room a little bit, because for us to have our exposure down like this, where you can still see detail outside, the exposure in the room had to be pretty dark. And so we were using quasars, probably bounced off of the ceilings, off the ceiling, in order to just fill the room with a little bit more light so that we get this detail in her face and it's not just pitch black. Okay, makes sense? All right, so moving on from there. Another shot of them. This is just them hanging out in some trees on the property. There's nothing with lighting going on here except we're telling them like, hey, just, be a couple. These are paid talent, so be a couple, hang out. We're gonna get some shots of you. Honestly, like with these scenes, and there's more like this. This was about the equivalent of shooting a wedding video or like an engagement video or something like that. Like honestly, it's just me and a camera telling them to just love on each other a little bit, and then we're getting different angles of it. That's about how simple it was. So moving on from there, we move into this coffee scene. This was probably it's funny to say, this is probably one of the bigger lighting setups of this entire shoot. It's also very, very simple. So basically what we have going on here is there is a quasar up above here. So imagine like right there, just barely behind them, kind of coming down, was really trying to motivate the look of a coffee shop. Okay, so in a coffee shop, you would have like lighting coming from above, and it would make sense in a location like this. And so I wanted to have that overhead lighting. You can see it on his head right here, just kind of hitting his hair. And then we've got light kind of coming down his face, and then shadow underneath the chin. You can see the same thing on her. You can see it kind of hitting her hair there, just a little halo, light on the top part of her face, and then shadow underneath. So we're creating that directional lighting coming from above and slightly from behind, of course, because we want to reverse key that light so it just feels directional, give some shape to their faces. And that's pretty much all that's happening here. I think the only other thing is that I believe we had a light on this background wall. So you notice that this wall is lit up a little bit. I believe we had another quasar over there just pointing at that, just giving us a little bit of light on that wall just to create some texture. Now these lights are tungsten balanced because we wanted, again, that warm coffee shop type of vibe. Obviously the light coming from outside is going to be more daylight balanced, right? Because it's actually daylight, right? And so you can tell it's kind of cloudy outside, so there's not a lot of sun coming in. So we're getting kind of a mix of color temperatures there, but ultimately, it's just a matter of like looking at the different color temperatures and making sure the light looks right. I chose that because we're going for the coffee shop vibe, right? We wanted the light inside the coffee shop to mimic what it would normally be, which would usually be more like tungsten warm type of lighting. Okay, so moving on from there, we've got just kind of a reverse shot or a shot of her. Again, more hanging out outside. You'll notice that we are shooting directly into the sun. And this is a tip, like when you're shooting outside, if you don't have a big crew to put up big negative fill or silks or anything like that, like just position your talent in front of the sun, point into the sun, allow the lens flares, just embrace them, embrace the lens flares, allow them to come in, kind of dirty up your shot a little bit, and you can get some great stuff. Like it just ends up looking really good. Okay, so that's basically what's happening here. You can see that sun. We're letting the sun kind of play around his shoulders here, and then of course when you get to this shot, you get a little bit of sun there on the right side as well. So you can see this nice like hazy effect happening, which is just helping our shot look pretty. Okay, moving on from there, of course we're hanging out downtown. Really cool downtown in Park City, Utah. And then more sun and trees. We got mountain biking. Again, nothing going on here. You can see the haze in the background, so you see those kind of cascading mountain lines happening. That's why it's all hazy back there, again, because of the fires. Again, just kind of got lucky on that. And so it was, we were able to get these really cool epic shots of them with these vistas over the valley. And you see more of that. We did a hiking scene here. Again, exact same thing. There's that. You got kind of these mountain lines. These ones back here, just like a little bit faded as well. And then this again, just like I was talking about earlier, it's like shooting a wedding video or like an engagement video. Like it's just a couple going on a hike and holding hands, hanging out, and just getting some creative shots of them. It's like pretty simple. There's really not much more to it than that. Okay, same thing. I mean, just look how beautiful those mountains are. The way those lines come across, just really, really cool. So we got them coming up the ski lift here. So we did 2 trips on the ski lift. So if you're ever doing anything where you're shooting on ski lifts, I did the first one where I was sitting on the ski lift with them, which we'll get that shot in a second, and then got some shots of them going up. Then we rode back down, and then we got on the ski lift again, and I got on the chair in front of them so that I could shoot back and get this shot. So we've got this really nice wide shot of them, obviously doing some like extreme composition here with them over in this corner. Tons of negative space just for dramatic effect. It's cool. And then it also shows off, just how there's them here, and then it just shows off like the property back here, and then the valley, and like how amazing this location is, which is part of the appeal of this video. From here, we jump onto the chairlift with them. So this shot right here, where you're getting, you know, not a lot happening, except you can see some of that glass effect happening, hazing up the scene a little bit right here. And then as you move forward, then we really get into working with the sun here. So I made sure to sit on this side of the chairlift in order to have them positioned with the sun behind them, so that as we were going up the hill, I could get some shots like this with some really cool lens flares. And those are really pretty as well. Okay. Then when we got to the top, this is where we shot this scene. So this all happened like at the same time. We got to the top, we did this picnic scene. Once again, I just love these lines happening in the background here. And these mountains are so pretty. And you can see that hazy. Again, not a lot happening here, but we are backlighting our subject with the sun, allowing those lens flares to come in. And then as we you know, get the shots that we need there, our sun is just helping do a lot of that work. So you'll see if you look over here, there's the chairlift right here. So we came up the chairlift this way, just kind of walked down here, and then started getting these shots with them. Pretty straightforward. A lot of this is kind of different from our normal breakdowns, because like there's just not a lot of lighting happening here. And I think it's a really good example of like, if you just understand the principles of lighting, even working with the sun and just getting the right location and the right time of day, you can make like really amazing things happen in your shoots. Okay. Moving on from there, we get into, this is probably the most complicated lighting setup of the shoot. And again, it's not very complicated. So we are starting with, first of all, working with the right time of day. We wanted to have like that nighttime look, and so we're shooting at blue hour. This is just after sunset. This is probably like 30 minutes, 45 minutes after sunset at this point. Everything turns blue. You get some of those like patchy clouds in the sky, and it's really, really pretty. And so as we move forward here, you'll notice that there's a little bit, so mostly everything's just blue. We've got our white balance set to a really low color temperature in order to keep things looking cool like this. But you'll notice that there's just this little bit of warm light hitting them here. Okay, and this balcony, this hot tub is on a balcony just outside of the hotel room, right? So the rooms here have like private hot tubs on their balconies. And so what we're doing here is we're basically motivating window light coming from the hotel room, right? And so what we did there, and let's see if there's another shot of it. Yeah, here you can see the exact same thing on her. So we've got like the backlight happening here with the blue, just from the sky, and then we've got our light coming here. So basically over here, over that direction on this wall, there's a window over there, and we wanted to feel like window light. So what I did is I took one of our quasars, or both of them, I think, just to get them bright enough, put them on a C-stand, and then put them inside that room and bounced them off of the ceiling. So because we didn't want like direct harsh light coming in into our scene here, we just wanted it to feel like window light. So we bounced them off the ceiling, basically illuminated that entire room with the right color temperature, nice warm like tungsten color temperature, and then allowed that light to pass through the window out here onto the balcony and into the hot tub scene. That's it. Okay, so because we're moving so fast and we don't have a big crew or anything like that, we're really like not doing a lot of finessing on these shots, which we maybe would if we had a bigger crew and spend more time with them. What we're really doing is just thinking like, what would the light naturally be doing in this scenario, and how can we mimic that with our quality light so that we're getting like good color accuracy and everything like that. Okay. Then moving on from there, I think we have just one more scene. Yeah, so them hanging out by the fire here with this amazing view. Again, nothing happening here. So this is just right after sunset, blue hour again. We've got, you know, just some nice like blue, cool tones happening. And again, like it's like a wedding video, just kind of getting the shots. Except that there's obviously a lot more intention going into the location, the time of day, where the sun's at, and everything like that, unlike what you would have with a wedding video. But essentially the shooting process was very similar. So there you go, guys. Hope that's helpful. There's a quick breakdown of this commercial. Again, like very simple what we did here, but what it comes down to is just understanding the principles and the techniques of lighting, because as long as you understand those, then even if you're just working with the sun, even if you're just working with locations and the right time of day, you can still create work that tells a beautiful story and that looks good and that has beautiful cinematography and looks cinematic. So if you guys want to learn more about lighting and really the the theory and the techniques and the principles of lighting. I've got a lighting course, which I'll link down below, that goes in depth into my entire methodology, and it's really affordable as well. It's only 47 bucks. I would recommend you guys check it out. And we'll take you through my entire methodology, how I think about lighting, how I approach the different scenes that I do for clients. And then it also has breakdowns of a lot of the different scenes that I've done before, the types of scenes that you'll come across when you're shooting, and how to handle each of those scenarios and get different looks and moods in your work. So if that's something you're interested in, click the link down below. I'll put it in the description for Lighting Secrets, and take a look at that, and we'll see you guys next week on the next video. All right, see you later.